Georgia Philly, what's up, man? USCJ here. It's the top of the morning. It's the top of the morning. Listen, I hope everybody is getting ready to get up, get out, and make some things happen this morning. Listen, we want to kind of recap this past weekend, what took place. I came to you guys on Saturday, and I really didn't have an opportunity to do a full recap, given the fact that there were some games that were still to be played. Of course, Colorado, we want to touch on that. What can we take from Colorado? What do you guys think Colorado really is when you look at them? Are they a legit team? Are they a good team? Do you guys see them imposing their will on somebody? Do you think it was impressive, the double overtime? I mean, what do we take from Colorado? Of course, we know that Travis Hunter got knocked out. He got hit. But there were some things that I noticed during the game. I want to touch on that. But also, I got to touch on this AP poll. This AP poll is insane when you think about the movement that takes place. Now, let me say this and let me get this out the way real quick. USC is in the AP poll. We're gonna go over it. USC is ranked number 5. I'm good with that. I don't. I think it gives us. It makes us hungry. But I will state this, as I stated before, I do think USC is the best team in the country. If you just have an eye test, if you just look at the teams that play all throughout the country, and when you look at it from a balance standpoint, what team is the most balanced to you? To me, hands down, it's USC. Um, Yes, there's some things that we can continue to do. Yes, there's some things that we can continue to correct. Some buttons and some ties, that things that we can tie up and button up and lock and secure, just to make sure that we don't have any major holes within the defense, whether it's the secondary, whatever the case may be. But I think when you look at it from a balance standpoint, I really believe that USC is that team that's balanced. And so we'll talk about that. We'll look at that. And you guys can hit me in the comment section. What would you have your top 25 teams be? You guys already know. The SEC, as we stated before, I stated on Saturday, you know, the media, let me say this, and I'm not even going to call out the media, but the media is in with a certain conference. And for so long, they kind of had a monopoly type situation on this thing. And now the balance of power appears to be shifting. You guys already know, almost about a year ago, when we first started seeing and witnessing the transfer portal, you guys remember I told you that the transfer portal is going to change the landscape of college football. Not only for you're going to see teams shift, you're going to see teams shift from different locations, where you're going to see the balance of power shift from different locations. And I brought a video up to you guys a while back, and the video was "History Always Repeats Itself." You guys already know USC was a national champions years ago, and they had powerful team. However, you guys already know this with the sanctions that took place, everything went in a whole nother direction. Then we started seeing teams like Florida rise up. You guys remember that? We've seen, of course, Alabama rose up. Florida had their dynasty. Not Miami. Alabama had their dynasty, and now it appears that things are shifting. But I think it's shifting for a different reason, not just because of history repeats itself, because history does repeat itself, but the transfer portal kind of enhanced that. It kind of made that thing speed up a little bit further, faster. When you're talking about history repeating itself, because now we're seeing teams that are absolutely overnight being changed. We've seen it. I stated it before. We've seen it with Michigan State, with Mel Tucker. They had a 2-win team. Turn that team around in 1 year. Lincoln Riley came and did the thing. And then I told you guys in the video, Deion Sanders is following the blueprint of Lincoln Riley. And he absolutely is. Now, whether you have the same success, each one has the same success, that it will vary based on the coach. But you can absolutely change your team around. And we're now starting to see teams that have been down for years and years and years now coming up. And as a result, we're starting to see parity. I heard somebody ask a question, why is there so much parity? I believe that the parity is coming because of the transfer portal and because of NIL. You guys already know when certain individuals went to Congress, I felt like the very thing that they didn't want to happen is now happening. They went to Congress for this, and we told you that this stuff may come up, and this stuff is going to be, it's going to start coming into play. And now we're starting to see these teams. Begin to change as things begin to shift, and now you're gonna have big time teams come out of nowhere, and those who hold the cards. And so USC happens to be one of those teams, one of those programs that hold the cards, given because of location. Remember, we talked about location, 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 and not only that, you got all the resources around USC, so it makes it very, very attractive. And as a result, you're going to see USC continue to move and groove, and it's not going to knock out recruiting completely, but there's another component, there's another aspect to this, and we talked about this, and it's called the transfer portal. And now we see what happened with South Alabama and in Alabama, excuse me, South Florida and Alabama. That was absolutely a tragedy to see Alabama on that level. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, they just looked so flat, and they just did not look like the Alabama that we were traditionally see. It was just crazy. And so now, when you look at it as a whole, we've seen the SEC just taking hits after hits after hits. We've seen what Utah did to Florida, right? We're seeing now BYU, what they did to Arkansas over the weekend. And get this one, UNLV over the weekend beat Vanderbilt. How about that one? I mean, we're starting to see some stuff that's just unbelievable, especially with the SEC conference. I mean, if any conference took a hit, I think the SEC conference has taken the biggest hit, and they are completely lost in the sauce. And that doesn't mean that they can't return to what they was, but it doesn't seem like they're going back to what they was. It doesn't seem like that balance of power will come back. It seems like that balance of power is out of here, man. So I want to take a look real quick though at this AP poll. I want to know what you guys think about it. How do you guys feel about the AP poll? You guys can hit me in the comment section. And look, there are some reports as well coming out of the state of Arizona. Arizona, you guys are Arizona State. You guys know just absolutely got the beat down put on them by was it Fresno State? Fresno State put it on them, man. Fresno State is always a good program. They're a decent program, but Fresno State appeared to just put the absolute beat down on them. And look, they got several guys that are out. And shout out to my man Brian Jenkins. He sent me a podcast to listen to. It was an Arizona State podcast, and I already knew they had a couple of offensive linemen out, but wow, I didn't know that they had a couple of quarterbacks out. Arizona State has some, like I think they're on third or fourth string quarterback. Man, they down to pretty much nothing. We'll get into that um, preview this week, but Arizona State is looking, and they're in some pretty bad shape right now. And man, I even heard on the podcast that they used the word, the F word, which was forfeit. They could possibly forfeit, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, too many people. What do you do with the tickets? What do you do with the plane tickets? What do you do with the hotel reservations? What do you do with all this stuff that was already paid for? And I know they're taking a massive hit, but man, if Fresno State, and I heard their defense is playing pretty good, but their offensive line is just absolutely lost in the sauce right now. So we'll talk about that. But Jaden Rashada, their freshman quarterback, that's doing pretty good. Looked pretty good. That I felt like he was looking pretty good at the beginning of the season. He's actually, I think he's hurt for like 4 weeks, and so he's gonna come back, maybe play two more games. I think he's already played two. He's gonna end up redshirting, and so they're gonna try to save him. So he'll play two more and possibly redshirt. So that's the story on Arizona State. We'll get into more Arizona State later on throughout the week. However, I want to talk about this AP poll. I want to look at the AP poll real quick and look at the coaches poll real quick. Let's take a look at this information real quick. Let's go. Here is the actual AP poll. We'll take a look at the AP poll first, and you guys can tell me what you guys notice about this first. You look at Georgia. I'm not even gonna argue with it, with Georgia being number one, but I do think that Georgia did not look like the number one team in the country. I mean, from what we've seen quarterback wise, it did not look like, even the defense didn't look like the defense of old. Spencer Rattler, he was the quarterback that they played against South Carolina. You guys very familiar with Spencer Rattler. He played under Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, but he was having some success. And they came down, drove down the field. I can't remember the receiver's name, but the guy actually had an injury to his foot. I think he had surgery, and but one of the first plays that he had in the game actually came down. Spencer Rattler hit him, scored a touchdown, and then he was out. He re-aggravated the foot, and so as a result, he couldn't continue. But that guy appeared to be, excuse my screen here, it's coming right back on. That guy appeared to be pretty explosive as a receiver. That guy was, I mean, he came down there, but USC has a ton of those guys on one team. So I'm not sold on Georgia, man. I don't think Georgia's necessarily, but they have the schedule that's going to get them through. I believe. I mean, who's going to challenge them? When we look at what happened against with Tennessee and Florida, those are two SEC East teams, and we're going to get through this real quick. But those are two SEC East teams, so it's like who's going to challenge them? I mean, Vanderbilt in the SEC East as well. They lost against UNLV, and then you got Missouri. Missouri may be the only team that's going to challenge them. Missouri did beat over the weekend. They did beat Kansas State, who won the Big 12. Well, did they win the Big 12 last year? Yeah, they did win the Big 12 last year, even though they beat TCU, even though TCU did go to the national championship. But, it's just one of those things, man, where the SEC East is just absolutely horrible. So, Georgia's coming out of there. And now it appears to be coming out the West. It's probably going to be LSU. I mean, after what took place on Saturday. But let's get through this. Michigan, you look at number 2, it's going to be Michigan. The jury's still out on them. We'll see what happens with them. But Texas, this is crazy because you see here, it was Florida State that was number 3, I believe, the week before. But then Texas skipped us and went to number 4. And so now Texas, because of the performance of Florida State over the weekend, they moved Texas to number 3. You guys hit me in the comments. Let me know if you think that's fair or not. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, this is I'm just not even going to argue that. But the Texas win against Alabama now doesn't look like it's just that great of a win. And we can all come to that agreement, right? That game against Alabama looks absolutely like a terrible game. So how good is Texas actually? I can argue that Oklahoma even looked better than Texas. So we'll see. The jury's still out on that. And you see here Florida State. Now here's the question: we look impressive in every single game. Florida State now number 4. They swap places with Texas. Why are they at number 4 is the question. Once again, let me reiterate this. I'm okay with where we're at, but I do have a problem with them being consistent in what they do as far as how they move these teams. Because if you're moving them based on their play, and if you look at Boston College wasn't a team that was supposed to be posing a big threat, but Boston College took it all the way to the end. And you see Florida State literally struggled. Now, I'm still going to maintain that Florida State is the best team in the ACC. I do. I believe that. I believe the quarterback play is good. I believe they're better than Clemson. But and you see here, Clemson's not even in. They're not even in the top 25 right now. But I think they'll beat Clemson. But the way they struggled over the weekend, I think that was just absolutely crazy for them to just still be within the top 4. It just lets you know that there is a bias with USC. If you look at the eye test, and once again, I am okay with USC being number 5. But if you look at the eye test, USC looks better than every team in the top 5 right now. Let's just be honest. They look better than Georgia. They look better than Michigan. They look better than Texas. They look better than Florida State. And, I mean, it's unbelievable. So let's move on. USC number 5. Ohio State number 6. Penn State number 7. Now here's the other team, Washington. I'm going to tell you right now, what Washington did to Michigan State was unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you, Washington is a big problem. Michael Penix is a problem. Those receivers are a problem. I can argue, and if it was my ranking, and I'm serious about this, I'll put USC number 1. I'll put Washington number 2. That will be my ranking. I'll put Georgia number 3. Michigan maybe number 4. That's how I would rank that. Because I believe that those two teams are the best looking teams for what I've seen in the country. That's my opinion. I think USC and Washington are the best looking teams that I've seen in the country, most explosive teams in the country. They're playing well on both sides of the ball. Okay, so that Washington's number 8. Number 9, you got Notre Dame. Number 10, you got Oregon. Number 11, you got um, Utah. Number 12, LSU. LSU bounced back against Mississippi State, so they do, they kind of look decent. Now I got a problem with this. Number 13. Why is Alabama at number 13? Anybody explain this one to me? Alabama has no business being at number 13 when you barely won against your offense. Look absolutely ridiculous when you barely won against South Florida. Can anybody explain that to me? Um, they're number 13. I don't even think, maybe number 20. Maybe number 20. I mean, I don't care about you cannot if you're doing this fair, I don't care about the roster that you have. I don't care about the 5 stars that you have. I don't care about the coach that has history and making him feel bad. You call it like it is and you play it like it is and you put these guys, you put these teams the way they are. Alabama has no business being number 13. I'm sorry. Oregon State number 14, I'm good with that. Ole Miss number 15, I'm good with that. Ole Miss plays Alabama this weekend. They may win that game. You're hearing it from me first. Jackson Dart playing some good football. Michael Traeger's on that team as well. Two former USC football players transferred to Ole Miss. Jackson Dart and Michael Trigg. I think Michael Trigg and Jackson Dart will probably light Alabama up. Oklahoma, I'm good with that. Number 16. North Carolina, number 17, I'm good with that. Duke, number 18, I'm good with that. Colorado, number 19, I'm good with that. Now, we'll find out what exactly Colorado is. You guys already know they struggled this weekend. It was a fight. Coach Prime, he's saying he's coming. We're going to see how much they're coming this weekend. I got love for Coach Prime. Big love. But at this end of the day, what I've seen on the field, from a penetration standpoint, from interior, they kind of remind me of what we had going last year from an interior play. I think we're better this year, USC, but Colorado, like I said, he followed the same blueprint, but you can only do so much through the transfer portal. You kind of got to have some of that depth there. And I think Colorado has those issues. And not only that, Shedeur Sanders, he's an outstanding quarterback, throws the ball very, very well, but he's not mobile like you would think he is. I don't think he picked up the mobile gene from his dad, but he's a heck of an athlete. He's a heck of a quarterback. And I think from what I've seen what Colorado State did, if you apply pressure to Shedeur Sanders, I believe that he's gonna eventually fold. But if you let him sit back there and throw the ball, Shedeur Sanders will pick you apart. But I think the USC has a defense that can apply pressure. I think that Oregon has a defense that can apply pressure, and I think that's going to cause Shedeur Sanders and Colorado some problems. That's my opinion. That's my view on it. That's how I kind of see it. You guys hit me in the comment section and tell me what you think. Why is this is a joke? You gonna tell me that Miami is not better than Colorado? Really? I don't know. You guys hit me. Van Dyke's the quarterback. I mean, you guys can hit me and tell me. Washington State, are they better than Colorado? They look pretty strong. That team that Washington State played Colorado State, they put 50 points on them. Was it 50 to 24? I think that was the score. So Washington State's not better than Colorado? I mean, this is kind of a joke. UCLA, I'm good with that. Tennessee, I guess you can keep them there. I guess you can keep them there even though they took a big L. But and then why is Florida? Can anybody explain to me why Florida is in the top 25? They got whooped on. I mean, you got these two teams here, and then why is Florida? Why is Florida behind Tennessee? And they just beat them. What kind of sense does that make? And then you got Iowa State. Iowa in the number 24, man. So look, you guys hit me in the comment section, man. I didn't want to be too long on this. Let's take a brief look real quick at the coaches poll. This is gonna be their top 10. You guys hit me in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. You see, it's a slight difference. You see Georgia number 1 once again, and then you see Michigan, and then you see Ohio State. Florida State and Ohio State. Of course, they want to keep us in number 5, but they got Ohio State here at number 4, and then still has Florida State there. Florida State don't budge after a loss after a win like that, so they good with that. If USC would ever lose or come close to losing against Boston College, I can guarantee you they will drop us significant. We will have a significant drop. See, they have Texas number 6. I don't know, man. It just this thing is weird. And then you see number 7 is going to be Penn State. Um, Number 8 is Washington. Number 9 is Notre Dame, and number 10 is Utah. Now, what do you notice about this from a USC perspective? 1, 2, 3 in the top 10 that USC absolutely has to play. And then you see 3 Pac-10 teams: Washington, Utah, and USC in the top 10. So, look, man, USC. Look, all we got to do is win out, and we in. I believe we can even make it in with one loss because that's how top, that's how back heavy, that's how heavy our schedule is on the back end. It's unbelievable what USC has to go through in order to get this. But I believe that we can have. I believe we can make it happen, and it's something that we can endure. We just got to stay healthy. We got to stay focused. We can't read our own press. We can't look at the even focus on all the other extracurricular activity that's going on within these crazy lost in the sauce polls and media, because these guys strategically do this stuff, man. It's weird. But you guys hit me in the comment section. You guys tell me what you think. Look, that's all I got for you. Look, make sure you get up, get out, and make some things happen. Until later on, fight on, fight on, fight on.